At the end of the three-match ODI series on Saturday, England and the West Indies will turn their attention to the five-match T20 international series starting in Barbados on Tuesday night. The match starts at 6 p.m. Barbados Standard Time, 5 p.m. in the Caribbean, in Jamaica. The West Indies selectors have not yet announced their squad for this T20 international series. I am, however, at this moment going to go ahead and try to second guess the West Indies selectors. I am pretty confident that the team that I am selecting now is very close or may well be the exact team that the West Indies selectors will choose for this ODI series. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show. I'm glad that you are here. The West Indies A team is fighting an uphill battle against the umpires in South Africa. But at this moment, we will stick to naming the West Indies squad for the T20 series against England. Now, in naming the squad, first I looked at the squad that was named for the series against India. You may recall that West Indies would have won that series 3-2. In that event, most of those players will retain their team in the squad that I'm going to announce, and more than likely that the West Indies selectors will announce. Also, I look at the performances of the players in the CPL, and I look at our top 10 performers in that competition. I also look at the performance in the recently concluded Super 50. But the Super 50, however, did not carry the same weight as the CPL, and it was used more as a backup measure in selecting my squad. So based on those players that played against India, and in that match, we have 7 batsmen. In that series, in that squad against India, there were 7 batsmen. 2 of those batsmen have been omitted from my squad. The 5 that retained their place is Puran, who was the leading run scorer in the tournament with 176 runs. Brandon King got 173 runs. Powell got 110. Hetmeyer got 102. And Hope, although batting in only 2 innings, he had a 45 and a 22 to score 67 in the series. I will stick with those 5 batsmen that played in the series. Now, in the CPL, Powell performances was not all that impressive. However, he's the captain of the team, and he's yet to lose a T20 series as West Indies T20 captain. So Powell, along with the other 4, retained their place as batsmen in the squad. When I look at the all-rounders, again remind you that we won the series, and all these 3 all-rounders performed creditably well in that series. Shepherd, as you may recall, was the player of the series. Both Chase and Older were able to bowl consistently well in the series, picking up wicket, and none of those 2 went for above 8 runs in the series. So those 3 retained their place in the squad. So those are, along with those 8 are these 3. Now we know that Alzarri Joseph is the spearhead of the West Indies bowling attack. Now he has been heavily criticized in recent times, but we must remember that just last year, Alzarri Joseph was among the 11 players that were named to the ICC World Team of the Year. Hussain, who have ranked number 1 as the ICC number 1 T20 bowler in the past, also played well against India. The third name on that list is O'Shane Thomas. Thomas, although he was included in the West Indies squad for the series against India, never played a match. But throughout the Super 50 and in this series against England at this stage after 2 ODI, we have seen a gradual progression of Thomas and he's bowling fast. If you are naming him in that squad then, with the progression that we have seen from him since, he should remain in the squad. So those are the 11 that I'm keeping from the squad against India. Now, the 4 omission from that squad against India, we look at Charles. I do not need to go over Charles' record over his after making that century against South Africa. Charles' record, Charles' performances since that century for the West Indies in T20 international cricket has been poor, and he was dropped from the starting 11 against India, and he will not be in my squad. We look at Myers, who generally opened the innings in T20 with Brandon King. And Myers' last 5 innings as a T20 opener for the West Indies. And some would say that Myers deserved to be in the team because he bowled. I must inform you that Myers' economy bowling for the West Indies is 9.71, and he has never gotten a wicket in T20 international for the West Indies. So Myers could only make this team if he's batting well. And his last 5 scores for the West Indies read like this: 1, 15, 25, 17, and 10. That is below my standard as a T20 opener for one of the top 10 ranked teams in the world playing T20 cricket. There are over 100 teams playing T20 cricket in the world. The West Indies is ranked in the top 10. I cannot have an opener who has scored 1, 15, 25, 17, and 10 in his last 5 matches representing a top 10 team. The other player that I leave out of this, well, those are the 2 batsmen. Now, when it comes to the 2 bowlers, I look at Odin Smith. And Odin Smith last 5 bowling performances for the West Indies. And Odin Smith, I would have said it on this show a number of times that we are very close. But looking at his performance and moving from the personality and the relationship that we enjoyed, his last 5 performances as a bowler for the West Indies, his economy has been 10.3, 11.5, 13.5, 18, and 15. During those last 5 matches, he has picked up only 4 wickets. I would want to see Odin Smith back in the West Indies team, but I could not include him in this squad. The other bowler, which make it the 4th player that I have removed from the squad, is Obed McCoy. Obed McCoy have gotten 5 wickets at 60 runs with an economy of 10.34 and a strike rate of 34.80 in his last 5 matches for the West Indies. So I could not play those 4 players in my team. Now, who do I choose to replace the 2 batsmen and those 2 bowlers? Now, let me look at the bowlers first. Now, the 2 persons that I've chosen to replace those 2 bowlers are Matthew Ford. Now, Matthew Ford did well in the recently concluded CPL. He averages 14.9 runs per wicket. I think he got 17 wickets, with an economy of less than 7, 6.83 to be exact, and a strike rate of 13. That means he's getting 2 wickets almost every match. He's getting almost 2 wickets. That, I think, was impressive. Now, I cannot second guess the West Indies selectors here, because in ODI cricket, I clearly think that Naheem Young is ahead of Matthew Ford in ODI cricket. And I would like to believe why he was chosen in this ODI squad is to prep him for the T20 series. We look at the recently concluded Super 50, and we see ranked among the bowlers, Naeem Young was ranked 9th, while Matthew Ford was ranked number 25th in the Super 50. When it comes to the batting, Naeem Young was ranked 23rd, while Matthew Ford was ranked 49th. Clearly, in my opinion, as I've said it from January, Naeem Young should have been in the ODI squad to tour South Africa, and he should have been in this squad playing against England. But they gave Matthew Ford the edge. And I think by giving Matthew Ford the edge for the ODI team, it suggested to me that he will be in the squad for the T20 team. That is supported by his strong performance in the CPL of 2023. The other player that I would include as a bowler in my squad is Gudakesh Motie. No one will doubt the skill of Gudakesh Motie. Strong performances in the CPL last year. Strong performances in the Super 50 this year. Last CPL season, which was this year. Strong performances in the Super 50 this year also. And he has been bowling well for the West Indies thus far in this ODI series against England, with being the joint leading wicket taker with 4 wickets. And so Gudakesh Motie and Matthew Ford are the 2 bowlers that I will have to replace Obed McCoy and Odean Smith. When it comes to the batsmen, and when you look at the statistics for those 2, that is Ford and Motie in the CPL, they meet the criteria that I've set out. Now for a bowler, and I've told you this on a number of occasions, for a bowler to break into the West Indies T20 international team, his economy, his average, and his strike rate must be below 50 in the CPL. I said it on a number of occasions. And both those 2 bowlers, when you add their average, economy, and strike rate, it comes out below 50. When it comes to the batsmen, for you to break into the West Indies team, I'm looking that when you add your strike rate and your average together, it will be above 180. So I look through the CPL and I look through the top 10 performers for West Indies in the CPL and see what their record was. Then I look at how they perform in the Super 50. And the one name that stands out, that is on both charts, is Shafane Rutherford. His performance in the CPL, when I add his strike rate together, and with his average, it was above 180. He was 10th in the CPL run scoring chart, 194 runs at an average of 32.33 with a strike rate of 155.20. Shafane Rutherford passed the 180 mark, and I will have him in my T20 squad. Now, the second batsman was a bit of a challenge because the other batsman that was 4th on the CPL table is a veteran. And I wanted to look past that veteran. But when I checked, I see no one. First, the thing that came to my mind was to go to the batsman that many of us think that is the most talented in the region. We have seen him impress a lot. Alec Athanaze have impressed many in red ball cricket and in the ODI format so far for the West Indies. So my inclination was to go with him to continue the opening partnership with Brandon King. That was my inclination. And then I looked at his statistics and saw that he had played 80-20 matches so far. And at this stage, his strike rate is a mere 108.55, averaging 23.757. In my opinion, I do not think that Alec Atanase is ready for T20 cricket, not with that strike rate and that average. The West Indies selectors may well go ahead and pick him on potential. If they choose to do that, not many of us will have an issue with it. But I would not pick Alec Atanase in my T20 squad. As I continue to look at the performances in the CPL to replace the other batsman that has been dropped from the team, I then look back at Myers' performance and saw that he still did not perform well in the T20. And so I went to Mark Deal from Trinidad. And I look at Mark Deal's performance and I saw that when I had both things together, that is the strike rate and the average, it still did not reach that 180 threshold that I'm looking for. And so his average and his strike rate had up to 169. So I said that is just 11 off the top. So let I look at his overall performance in T20 cricket. And then when I look at it, I was immediately turned off because his average and his strike rate in this year's CPL was higher than his overall. And if I am not satisfied with his numbers in this year's CPL and his overall numbers are worse, I will not select him. And then I looked at the veteran who was fourth. I may remind you that he was fourth in the CPL runs table chart. And that veteran was Andre Fletcher. In the CPL of 2023, Andre Fletcher played 9 matches, batted 8 times, scored 278 runs at an average of 39.71 with a strike rate of 144. That put him at 183 above the threshold that I have set. But then we know that Fletcher overall performances is terrible for the West Indies. So I look at it and I saw where he averages 21 for the West Indies and his strike rate is even more devastating and frightening. It is just 111. And right away, I ruled him out. And then I go again and I look and say, let me see if I can find anyone from the Abu Dhabi T10 that is currently playing. And when I looked in third position, who was there? Andre Fletcher, 7 matches, 6 innings, 164 runs, at an average of 32.80 and a strike rate of 215. And I scratched my head and I said, should I recall Fletcher to my squad? He's a veteran and his overall performance is not so good. And then I said to myself, which youngster may I pick from left field? Which youngster? And I look at Kadeem Alain and I said, you know, he's very aggressive, but he doesn't show me the stability. He can hit away the ball and he scored very fast, but I'm not seeing that maturity coming out. And then I look at Johan Jeremiah and I said, maybe this is the way that I need to go. Johan Jeremiah is a left-hander, good opener for King at the top of the order. And so it comes down to Fletcher and Jeremiah. A wild pick from left field based on what we saw in the Super 50, or a veteran who is continued to score runs. For when I look at it all, I cannot justifiably select anyone else except these two. And so, in the end, my decision was this. So the full squad for the West Indies T20 series versus England reads like this. Pooran King Powell, Edmire Hope, Rutherford Fletcher, Shepherd Chase Older, Hussain, Joseph Thomas, Ford, and Moti. Those are my 15 for the West Indies T20 squad. I have said my bit. Now let's hear what you are saying. Thank you for being here. Good morning, everyone. welcome to the show. Please remember to slash a like on the video and click on that subscribe button. Hello, mate. How you doing, Ali Haider? Adish Bishu, welcome to the show. Ali Haider is saying, I guess the selectors are waiting for the players to reach Barbados, as almost all of the T20 players are busy playing T20 League in the UAE. I understand that, but they cannot wait until that the series starts on Tuesday. So they need to make contact with those players and decide who is coming. And in picking this squad, I assume that all the players are available. Marie Fagan, blessings to you, my friend. Good morning. Winston King, good morning. Happy Friday to you too, sir. I really appreciate your company. Ali Ada is saying, just a quick question. That how come the centrally contracted players are playing some league while the T20 series is just a couple of days to go? Why the board doesn't jump in as them to get back? Ali Ada, I have done a number of shows. I have said it probably 100 times that in West Indies cricket, there is tremendous player power. And so once that player power remains, there are a number of things that will never improve in West Indies cricket. It is time that we do something about player power, because these players, believe you me, they are not playing for fans of West Indies cricket. They are playing for the money. They are playing for their pocket. They are being paid well to play for West Indies, but they are not. Their interest is not playing for us, the fans. It is playing for the pay that they are receiving. And as long as it continues, that there's player power in West Indies cricket, the game in our country, among our team, will not improve. When T20 squad will announce? Well, I just announced my squad. Hopefully, I do not know. I do not know, but I think that the squad that I announced may well be the squad that is selected, or it will be very close to it. I do not expect to see more than 2 difference between the squad that I selected, but it may well be the same 15 that I selected. I am almost sure that the squad that I announced will be the squad that Cricket West Indies will announce very shortly. Just checking in. I'm guessing Jaros is back. Am I right? Oh, Mr. Casanova, you are guessing Jaros is back. Well, no, I do not have Andre Russell in my squad at this time. I believe that the T20 squad should have been announced along with the ODI squad. It is very late. Yes, but these are the things that continue to plague West Indies cricket. These little things. Take, for instance, Neil Brown. And I said it earlier this morning when I was previewing the match. 2 releases from Cricket West Indies. One yesterday at 5:43 p.m. from one of the media officers. In that release, he said that the team will be training at 9 a.m. Barbados time this morning. Then this morning, there was another release from another media officer, not the same one that sent out the release yesterday, a different person. At 6:24 this morning, he sent out a release that the team will be training at 9:30. I agree with you that there could be changes in the scheduling of the team training from 9 to 9:30. But because the message from the second media officer didn't say anything like updated information or a change in scheduling of the training, we do not know which one to believe. Because I am thinking that both just put out something without actually giving us the correct time. If the second one had said updated information on previous release or something to that effect, we would have known which is the right one. And so these little things continue to bug West. Let me give you probably a better story. A West Indies media officer sent out a press release. And in that release, the media officer, and I'm not calling anyone name, the media officer had the time for Jamaica wrong. I sent back a message to the media officer and said, you have the time for Jamaica wrong. The person replied and said, you need to have your WhatsApp updated to the newer version. That was the reply. Instead of just saying a simple thank you or noted or something like that, the reply was that I need to update my WhatsApp to the newer version. So, so these little things just need to be corrected. What do you think about Nepal? I am a fan of Nepal cricket. Definitely a fan of Nepal cricket. And when I watched the finals in the East Asia qualifying round for the World Cup, and I saw the number of persons gathered at the top of that mountain and that scenic field, I love Nepal cricket. I'm a fan of Nepal cricket, definitely. Bobby Brown, how are you? Player power is too much. We cannot run a successful organization that way. No player is bigger than the team. Bobby, I was sharing some things with you, and I can't, as I said to you, I can't really share them because no name was called. But the magnitude of the player power in the West Indies team is so great, absolutely great. And the person who shared the information with me, I have to tell the person that that's a lie. It cannot go that way. And the person was insisting, and I said, I cannot say it then. Unless I can call your name, I cannot say this, because this will blow up everything, and I cannot say it, and I will not say it. I don't even say it to my friends because I can't believe it. It cannot even be said in bars. Unless I can call your name, I cannot even say it in bars, honestly. But the player power is great in West Indies. The reason why they announced late is because of the T20 Abu Dhabi cricket, so the players controlling the board to say when they're available. No other country players put franchise cricket first. Kevin Bunram, that to say no other players put franchise cricket first is probably not quite right, but I got the point that you are making. I got the point. You are saying that the tail is wagging the dog, because we saw in players like Trent Bolt, Guadome, especially in New Zealand, they refuse the central contracts. And so they can play franchise cricket without breaching the contracts that they have with their cricket association. But I got the point that you are making, that any other country, especially countries like Pakistan and so on, India and so on, Sri Lanka, those players will be back in the West Indies already, preparing for the T20 series. Although you may argue that playing in T10 competitions is also good practice for the T20 series, although I definitely think the coach would want to go over some challenges. Thank you everyone for being here. And I leave you again with my squad. This is my full squad for the T20 series. I expect it to be very, very close to the one that Cricket West Indies is going to select. It may well be the exact team. Don't expect more than 2 differences. Maybe one, maybe the exact team, but not more than 2. West Indies 330 for 8, looking to get 421 runs to win. So they need another 70-91, but the umpiring in this match has been terrible. I will be back with you at the end of this match to give you a review of the West Indies 18 tour of South Africa. Until then, have a great day, everyone. God bless you. Take care of yourself and your loved ones.